over 10,000 spectators in a sold-out Alexander Palace, some of which are dressed as Oompa Loompas, watch intently as a man with a snake painted on the side of his mohawk throws 3 darts at a board. Another player makes a grand appearance while holding an aubergine, and the 16-year-old ends up going from nobody knowing his name to making £200,000 in a month. No, this is not a scene from a psychedelic-induced fever dream. This is the wonderful world of darts. If you pull up a chair and let me tell you a few of the best bits from over the years, then hopefully you'll see why I, as well as countless other people worldwide, adore the sport of darts. The year is now 1990, and Eric Bristow is facing off against Phil Taylor. Going up against possibly the GOAT of darts is never an easy task, so Bristow was probably well pleased when he was able to hit a 180. In fact, he was so chuffed that he couldn't contain his excitement and gave Phil Taylor a big old snog. Always good to see players respecting the competition. Raymond van Barneveld is one of those beloved figures in all of darts, and perhaps his most epic campaign came in 2007. Van Barneveld decided to switch from the formerly dominant British darts organization to the current powerhouse, the Professional Darts Organization. It was a gamble that paid off because Barney became the first ever player in darts history to appear in BDO as well as PDC finals in consecutive years. Van Barneveld had the ever so easy task of facing Phil Taylor in the final. Taylor eventually won a staggering 14 World Championships, playing up the flights in 2018, but he would have a different fate in 2007. Barney would go on to win his first and only World Championship to date, as well as the hearts of darts fans everywhere, after defeating Taylor 7 legs to 6 in an incredible final. What a way to break onto the scene. A few months later, and Taylor is facing off against Wayne Mardle in the quarterfinals of the World Championship. Taylor would have been looking to claim his 12th title, but they had to wait until the following year, as Mardle saw off the heavyweight favorite after a tight 5-4 contest. Mardle eventually fell to Kirk Shepherd in the semis, but the Englishman certainly had a campaign to remember. Fast forward to 2010, and James Wade is leading Scott Wade's 8-leg to-none in the Grand Slam final. Only needing 16 legs to claim the title, Wade must have thought that he had one foot in the door. However, Scott Wade had different ideas. The Englishman rallied from behind and eventually won the match 16 legs to 12, as well as becoming the first ever BDO player to win a Grand Slam title. Michael van Gerwen didn't get his maiden World Championship until 2014, but one of his finest hours occurred the year before, when he threw 17 consecutive perfect darts while facing off against James Wade in the 2013 World Championship semifinals. Further proof that MVG might be a robot. The World Championship final is the greatest stage in all of darts, and with that comes immense amounts of pressure. This pressure seemed to get Scotsman Gary Anderson when he was facing off against Phil Taylor in 2015's finale. At one point, all of Gary's darts fell in what was eventually dubbed as his 180 on the floor. Laugh all you want, but Anderson's the one who eventually emerged on top, claiming his first of 2 World Championship titles that night. Ross Bray has perhaps the most iconic voice in darts. However, a match between Gary Anderson and Adrian Lewis at the 2016 Chairman's League at darts was an example of how even the best make mistakes at times. Bray miscounted, but lucky for him, Gary Anderson was able to notice, and also found the funny side of it. 2017 was a year that seemed to have it all for darts. We start off with the fans' intense head bobbing at the World Darts Open, leading them to eventually fall off the stage. Some darts players seem to simply have nerves of steel, and Mensur Suljovic is one of them. When a wasp fancied landing on him, the Austrian simply flicked it away. Darts can certainly be a game of oh-so-nears, and this is something that Paul Lims can attest to. The Singaporean nearly hit an unbelievable 9-darter at 2018's version of the World Championship, and what would have been an unforgettable feat. If only. Any good sport loves a nice old-fashioned controversy, and darts is no different. Gerwyn Price was facing off against Gary Anderson in the 2018 match play final when Anderson gave the Welshman a little love tap amidst Price's celebrations. The crowd was already jeering Price throughout the entirety of the match, but this seemed to only intensify the hostility. Price eventually struck the ultimate silencer, not only winning the title, but becoming the first Welsh champion of a PDC major event. Darts can be tense at times, but it isn't always. Every now and then, the pressure seems to come off a bit and create a wholesome moment, such as Kirk Shepherd and Dimitri Vandenberg engaging in a cheeky little dance-off at the 2019 UK Open. Austria had somewhat of a fairy tale run the 2021 World Cup of Darts, starting off their campaign with a 5-1 win over the Philippines. They were drawn against Dimitri Vandenberg and Kim Hubrick's Belgium next, who would have been heavily favoured. However, the unseeded Austria was still able to see up the duo who were ranked 4th in the world with 4 matches to 1. Up next was Dale Gurney and Brendan Dolan's Northern Ireland, who were ranked 5th in the world, but still no match for the mighty Mensur Suljovic and Roby John Rodriguez, who found themselves on the better side of a 2-1 scoreline. Their greatest test awaited them, with the semi-final meeting with England on the cards. Not only did they upset the #1 ranked team in the world, but they did so in incredible fashion, with a clean sweep after 2 matches. Austria's fairy tale ended when they faced a superior British team in the final, and Peter Wright and John Henderson brought home Scotland's second World Cup title. Although they fell at the final hurdle, Mensur Soljovic and Robijan Rodriguez certainly had a memorable 4 days in Germany during September of 2021. A few months later, and perhaps my favorite moment in the history of darts took place during the World Championship. Dutchman and part-time aubergine farmer Dirk van Duijvenbode created perhaps the greatest walkout in World Championship history when he showed off one of his beloved aubergines to the adoring crowd, all whilst intense electronic music was playing in the background. Darts players are known for being down for a good laugh, and this was seen when Nathan Aspinall was playing in Stoke Holland 2022. I'm not entirely sure what Aspinall said, but it must have been pretty funny, as Collins' reaction was subsequently spitting water all over himself as well as the stage. Darts is full of mind games, and there's many ways players can get ahead of their opponents besides just being precise on the board. I doubt it was intentional, but MVG's act of dropping ice could have been seen as a way to distract Raymond van Barneveld last year. Lucky for MVG, Barney is one of the greatest senses of humor in all of darts, and was also unfazed by their shenanigans. At the World Championships in the same year, a player whose name you may have heard of, Luke Littler, burst onto the darting scene. The 16-year-old was perhaps only known by darts diehards before the tournament, but he was a household name by the end of it. This is because, despite not being old enough to drive, Littler eventually made the final of the World Championship, dispatching the likes of Matt Campbell, Raymond van Barneveld, Brendan Dolan, and Rob Cross. He eventually fell Luke Humphries in the final, but he determined for the ages. And, unless the off chance that Lamine Yamal watched my videos, he's probably done more than all of you at the age of 16. Littler set himself an incredible standard after making the World Championship final at the age of 16. Many believed that it would be incredibly difficult to outdo himself, but he proved any doubters wrong when he won a Premier League title at the age of 17 a few months later. Not only did he become the youngest player to win a PDC major event, but he did so in style, hitting a 9-darter in the final. Whether it be the incredible moments, unbelievable levels of tension, or outright shenanigans, I hope that you have somewhat of an understanding why I love the game of darts so much. Hopefully you enjoyed it if you're a fellow darting enthusiast, and if you're new to the sport, then hopefully watch a few of the matches at the World Championship that will begin tomorrow. The December darting vibes are one that are matched by very few things in the world, and it's an almost honor as well as a privilege to share them with you. Merry Dartsmas to all, and to all a darts night.